In order to make Islam appear attractive to black people, some Muslims say that the Prophet Muhammad was black. Even Allah was claimed to be black as well.
What? Allah is also black?
Let's hear what a Muslim said to Malcolm X in this movie.
I tried to act
I'm
like...
telling you God's words, not no hustle. And I'm gonna tell you, God is black.
God is black.
Allah is black, Prophet Muhammad is black, Islam is the religion of the Africans. Islam abolished slavery, freed slaves, elevates women, eliminates discrimination.
But actually, there is no evidence of that statement. As a matter of facts, based on Islamic literatures, Prophet Muhammad enslaved people, owned and sold slaves, including several black slaves.
It's a pleasure doing business with you, O Rasulullah.
He was neither black nor African. The Islamic traditions emphasize how white his skin was. Sahih Bukhari 1, number 367. He uncovered his thigh and I saw the whiteness of the thigh of the Prophet. Sunan Abu Dawud, volume 20, number 3200. I still seem to see the whiteness of the forearms of the Apostle of Allah. Sahih Bukhari, volume 2, book 17, hadith number 122. And a white person, Muhammad, who is requested to pray for rain. Muhammad was not a white Caucasian, but an Arab man with a relatively fair complexion than most Arabs around him. The repeated statements regarding the whiteness of the Prophet Muhammad's skin are directly related to the meaning of the colors of black and white in Islam. Quran, Surah Ali Imran, verse 106. The day when faces are whitened, and faces blackened. Then, as for the ones whose faces are blackened, did you disbelieve after your belief? Then taste the torment for that you disbelieved. Quran, Surah Az-Zumar, verse 60. And on the day of resurrection thou, Muhammad, sees those who lied concerning Allah with their faces blackened. Is not the home of the scorners in hell? According to these verses, people whose faces are whitened will go to heaven, while the ones that were blackened will go to hell. If Allah decides some black men go to heaven, then their black faces would be whitened as if there is something wrong with having black skin. Allah wants to be sure that no black face ever show up in heaven.
Oh, it's not like that, bro. Those verses are metaphorical without any racist connotations.
However, there are some hadiths that link black skin and creation with Judgment Day. Mishkat al-Masabi, Volume 1, Chapter 4, Part 2, page 36. Abu Darda. The Prophet of God said, God created Adam and struck him on the right shoulder, and brought out his white children. You would say they were pearls. Then he struck his left shoulder, and produced his black children. You would say they were coals. And God said those of the right side are towards paradise, and I have no fear. And he said of those of the left side, they are towards hell and I fear not. What does it mean when Allah said I fear not? This is what he means. The expression here twice repeated, in the original La Abali, implies, I have no fear that their future deeds will falsify the sentence which I have now pronounced, seeing I have already predestined all their action. Abdul Haq. So, according to this hadith, Allah already decided all black people he created would go to hell no matter what they did, since he already predestined their fates. This hadith explains very clearly that in Islam, Allah made the destiny of human beings before he created them. He already decided to bless the extremely white-skinned people to heaven and to curse the extremely black-skinned people to hell. It's clear that Allah judges them based on the color of their skin and that for Allah, white is pure, holy, clean, while black is the opposite of it. In fact, other narrations even command that any person claiming that Muhammad was black be put to death. Muhammad Messenger of Allah. Ash-Shifa of Qadi Iyad, page 375. Ahmad ibn Abi Sulayman, the companion of Sanan, said, anyone who says that the Prophet was black should be killed. The Nation of Islam teaches that white people are devils. Their members might want to ponder this statement by Muhammad. The Apostle said,
whoever wants to see Satan, let him take a look at Nabtul bin al-Harith.
He was a sturdy black man with long flowing hair, inflamed eyes, and dark ruddy cheeks. He used to come and talk to the apostle and listen to him and then carry what he had said to the hypocrites.
But you have to see the whole context. Nabtal is a hypocrite. That's why the prophet called him Satan.
There were many hypocrites surrounded the prophet, but he only called Nabtal, who was black, as Satan. How about calling a black woman as an epidemic? Sahih Bukhari, Volume 9, Book 87, Hadith 161.
I saw in a dream a black woman with unkempt hair going out of Medina and settling at Mahaya, namely Al-Juffa. I interpreted that as a symbol of epidemic of Medina being transferred to that place, Al-Juffa.
Ah, come on. That was just a bad dream. No big deal, okay?
Sahih Muslim, Book 10, number 3901. During the time of migration to Medina.
Ya Rasulullah, I want to pledge allegiance with you.
Oh, sure. I'd be more than happy to accept your pledge.
Thank you, Rasulullah. I will migrate with you.
That guy is my slave. I want to have him back, or you can buy him from me.
I didn't know that he is a slave. Okay, I will buy your slave with mine. Here, take my slave.
Huh? He is a black slave, while mine is an Arab slave.
Oh, alright then. Here, have another one. I lost my property because of that guy. That was several thousand dinars gone.
Rasulullah, there is another guy want to pledge allegiance with you.
Is he a slave or a free man? I don't want to lose more property.
Apparently, at that time, the price of one Arab slave is equal with 2 black slaves. Prophet Muhammad saw his black slaves as his currency. Here is another hadith about Prophet Muhammad's black slave. Malik's Muwatta, Book 21, number 21.13.25. During the year of the attack of Khaybar, Prophet Muhammad got a new black slave named Medam. When Medam was unsaddling the camel of the Prophet, a stray arrow struck and killed him. People came and said, "Oh, he died as a martyr. He must be in heaven now." But the Prophet said,
"No, by he in whose hand myself is. The cloak which he took from the spoils on the day of Khaybar before they were distributed will blaze with fire on him."
Just to clarify, Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, robbed caravans, and beheaded hundreds of Jews, but he's good. His black slave, by contrast, grabbed a cloak before the spoils were divided, so he's headed to hell. Welcome to Islam. Mindlessly obeying Muslim leaders was so important to Muhammad that when he wanted to emphasize obedience, he told his followers that they had to obey even the worst leader imaginable. We find Muhammad's worst-case scenario in Sahih al-Bukhari 7142.
You should listen to and obey your ruler, even if he was an Ethiopian black slave whose head looks like a raisin.
So, the worst possible leader of a community of Muslims, according to Muhammad, would be a black slave.
Look, you're not being honest and fair here. One of the best Sahaba was Bilal, and he was a black guy, who was freed by Abu Bakr. We uphold and love Bilal because of his dedication to Islam.
Bilal was a slave before he converted to Islam and continued to be a slave after that. Sahih Bukhari, Volume 5, Book 87, Hadith 99. Narrated Qais, Bilal said to Abu Bakr,
"If you have bought me for yourself, then keep me for yourself, but if you have bought me for Allah's sake, then leave me for Allah's work."
The hadith explains that, after Prophet Muhammad died, Bilal asked Abu Bakr to set him free. He wouldn't ask Abu Bakr such a request if he was not a slave anymore.
Bilal is a good slave, and a great blessing from Allah. I don't think Allah wants me to lose his blessing.
Which one is the Prophet? This white guy. What does Satan look like? That black guy. Now how did a religion that was inaugurated by a white prophet who had black slaves and referred to Ethiopians as raisin heads, and said that Satan looks like a black man ever get the reputation it has among African American Muslims today? Well, in the West, there's a general atmosphere of ignorance about Islam. People don't know even the most basic facts about Muhammad and the Quran. And this allows Muslim preachers to say whatever they want about Islam, because no one's going to correct them. So if a Muslim preacher is talking to a woman who's interested in women's rights,
Muhammad was a champion of women's rights.
If he's talking to someone who has a high regard for science,
the Quran is a scientific masterpiece, filled with miraculous scientific insights that were only verified centuries later.
If he's talking to someone who's concerned about racial justice,
Islam is the religion that liberates slaves and establishes racial equality.
Absolute nonsense. But people convert to Islam because they believe what they're told and don't bother reading the Muslim sources to see if the preacher's story checks out.
Islam သာသနာမှာအယောင်ဆင်းခွဲခြားတယ်ဆိုတာလည်းမရှိဇတ်နိမ့်ဇတ်မြင့်ဆိုတာကလည်းမရှိနော်ဆင်းရဲချမ်းသာဆိုတာကလည်းမရှိအဲ့တော့အဲ့ဒီအားလုံးကိုတာရုံညီမျှဆိုတဲ့မူလရည်ရွယ်ချက်ကလည်းပြန်ကြည့်ရင်အစ္စလာမ်ကိုလေ့လာတဲ့အခါကျတော့အများကသဘောကျကြတယ်လေတချို့ဘာသာသာသနာတွေမှာဆိုရင်ဇတ်နိမ့်ဟဲဇတ်မြင့်ဟဲလူဖြူဟဲလူမဲဟဲဒီလိုခွဲခြားမှုတွေရှိခဲ့တာပေါ့အစ္စလာမ်ကကြတော့အဲ့လိုမရှိတကယ်တမ်းပြန်ကြည့်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တမန်တော်မြတ်ကြီးကအာရဗ်လူမျိုးလေတမန်တော်မြတ်ကအာရဗ်လူမျိုးဟာလာသူ့နာမှာအနိကဆုံးနေခဲ့တဲ့ဟာဇရတ်ဘေလာတို့ဘာလို့ဆိုတာကဟိုတုန်းကသူအာဖရိကန်လေနော်အဲ့တော့တမန်တော်ကြီးရဲ့ဟာလာဟိုဘဝလူနေမှုအစဉ်တန်းတွေကိုနည်းနည်းတာလေ့လာမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ဒီနေ့ကဘာကလိုချင်ရတဲ့ရင်းချမ်းရေးသမားကြီးဆိုတာကတကယ်ပေါ်ပါတယ်တကယ်ပေါ်ပါတယ်ဒါကြောင့်လဲအစ္စလာမ်သာသနာဝင်မဟုတ်တဲ့ပုံကိုယ်တွေကတော့တမန်တော်မြတ်မုဟမ္မဒ်နဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ဟုတ်လားသူတို့ရဲ့သုံးသက်ချက်ပေါ့ဒီနေ့ပြောမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကြောသွားတရားဆိုတာလဲလို့လေ့လာမိမှာပါပဲအဲ့ဒီမှာဆိုရင်နံပါတ်1တောင်ပေးခဲ့တာရှိတယ်လေ
အဲ့တော့ဒီမိခင်များရဲ့အခန်းကဏ္ဍနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့လဲကျမ်းမြတ်ကုရ်အာန်မှာအများကြီးပါတယ်ဘယ်လောက်ထိပါလဲဆိုရင်ဒီမိခင်ဟာသတိသားလေးကိုမိမိဝင်းပိုက်မှာဘယ်လိုသူဟာဖွံ့ဖြိုးတိုးတက်စေတယ်ဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းလေးဟာအသေးစိတ်ပါလို့တော့သိပ္ပံရှုထောင့်ကနေပြီးတော့သတိသားရဲ့ဖွံ့ဖြိုးမှုအနေနဲ့တောင်မှသိပ္ပံပညာရှင်တွေကဒီကျမ်းချက်တွေကိုထုတ်နှုတ်ပြီးတော့သိပ္ပံရှုထောင့်နဲ့ဖွင့်ဆိုခဲ့တာတွေတောင်အများကြီးရှိတော့စေသိပ္ပံနေမှာတောင်မှပြဋ္ဌာန်းစာအုပ်ဖြစ်နေသင်ရတာတွေရှိတယ်